When a relationship ends, most people make the same mistake. They obsess over how to fix the relationship instead of how to fix themselves. They start thinking, what can I say to make them come back? What can I do to prove my worth? How do I convince them? But the truth is, the moment you go down that path, you've already lost. Because what you're really saying is, I don't value myself enough, so I need you to validate me. And nothing kills attraction faster than that kind of energy. If you want 99% of exes to come back and chase you, the secret isn't about some clever line or manipulative tactic. It's about turning the spotlight away from them and putting it back where it belongs, on you. The foundation of attraction, the core reason anyone wants to be with you, is the way you show up in your own life. And that starts with rebuilding yourself, not the relationship. Think about this. When you first met that person, what made them want to be around you? It wasn't desperation. It wasn't pleading. It was the energy you carried. You had confidence. You had independence. You had something going on in your life that made them say, I want to be part of that. Somewhere along the way, maybe you lost that. Maybe you started depending on them for happiness, security, or self-worth. The dependency is what pushes people away. Humans are drawn to strength, not weakness. To wholeness, not emptiness. So the first step isn't calling them, texting them, or stalking their social media. The first step is looking in the mirror and asking, who do I need to become for me? Not for them, not for anyone else, for me. Because when you rebuild yourself, you do something incredibly powerful. You reclaim your identity. You stop being someone's ex and start being someone who radiates value, purpose, and confidence. This isn't just a psychological trick. It's deeply rooted in human nature. From a psychological standpoint, attraction is largely about perceived value. When you show that your life is expanding, that you are growing in strength, that you're evolving, you trigger something powerful in the human brain. What psychologists call the scarcity principle. People want what they believe is rare, valuable, and slipping away. When you chase them, you signal abundance of attention but scarcity of value. When you focus on yourself, you flip that dynamic, you become the scarcest resource they suddenly fear losing forever. But let's go deeper, because this isn't just psychology, it's philosophy. The ancient Stoics, men like Marcus Aurelius, taught that the only thing truly under your control is yourself. You can't control whether someone loves you. You can't control whether they stay or go. But you can control your mind, your actions, your growth. And when you anchor yourself in that truth, you stop living like a victim of rejection and start living like a creator of your destiny. And that energy, trust me, people feel it. I've seen it time and time again. The moment someone decides to stop chasing and instead rebuild themselves, start hitting the gym, mastering their craft, reconnecting with passions, surrounding themselves with uplifting people, they create a gravitational pull. Suddenly the ex that ignored them starts noticing. Suddenly the phone that stayed silent begins to buzz. Why? Because people always come back to what shines. They can't help it. We're wired to chase after light, after strength, after the thing that makes us feel alive. And here's the paradox. When you stop trying to win them back and start working on yourself, you might realize you don't even want them anymore. You might discover that the person you become is too powerful, too focused, too full of self-worth to go back to the version of you that once begged for love. That's the beauty of this process. By rebuilding yourself, you not only flip the script on your ex, you flip the script on your own life. So if you're sitting there right now, heartbroken, waiting for the message, the call, the knock on the door, I want you to shift that energy. Stop waiting, stop hoping, start building. Build your body. Build your business, your career, your relationships with family and friends. Build your happiness from the inside out. Because when you do that, you don't just become attractive to your ex. You become magnetic to the world. And here's the truth you need to take home tonight. The real secret to making someone chase you isn't about them at all. It's about you. When you rebuild yourself, you ignite a fire that no one can ignore. That's the one thing. Choose yourself, grow yourself, and watch how the world, including your ex, begins to chase what you become. One of the hardest truths people face after a breakup is this: the more you try to hold on, the faster the other person slips away. And yet, that's what most people do. They send text after text. They check in just to see how you're doing. They try to remind their ex of the good times, hoping nostalgia will pull them back. But here's the problem. Every time you reach out, every time you chase, you're reinforcing the very reason they left. You're showing them you can't live without them. Now let me ask you this: what is more attractive? Someone who's desperate for your attention, or someone who's so focused on their life, their vision, their purpose, that you can't help but want to be around them? The answer is obvious. We're drawn to strength, independence, and mystery. But that's why detachment is one of the most powerful tools you have if you want an ex, or anyone really, to chase you. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you erase the past or pretend the feelings weren't real. It means you recognize a universal law. You cannot control another person's heart. The only thing you can control is the energy you put into the world. And when you stop pouring your energy into chasing, when you stop feeding the dynamic of desperation, you create space for attraction to breathe again. Think about it like this. Imagine you're holding sand in your hand. If you clutch it tightly, it slips through your fingers. But if you open your palm and let it rest there, it stays. Relationships work the same way. The more you squeeze, the more you chase, the more you try to control, the faster it falls apart. But when you let go, when you step back, when you detach, you allow the natural balance to return. From a psychological perspective, this is about something called reactance. But human beings are wired to resist when they feel their freedom is being restricted. The moment you chase, the moment you press, your ex feels that loss of freedom. They feel cornered, pressured. So what do? They run further away, but when you pull back, when you go silent, something fascinating happens. The brain starts to crave what it can't have. That's scarcity again, but it's also curiosity. Why aren't they reaching out? Why aren't they trying? Have they moved on? Did I lose them for good? Those questions plant seeds of doubt and desire. But let's elevate this beyond psychology into philosophy, because this isn't just about a tactic, it's about how you. The great paradox of life is that attachment creates suffering. The Buddha taught this thousands of years ago. When you cling, when you attach your identity and your happiness to another person, you give away your power. But when you detach, when you release the need to control outcomes, you gain freedom. And freedom is magnetic. Freedom is attractive. People chase what they can't fully possess, and they respect those who don't need to be possessed. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but if I don't reach out to fight them, won't they just forget about me? No. If anything, silence speaks louder than any message you could ever send. Silence forces them to confront the reality of losing you. Silence gives them space to remember, to reflect, to feel your absence. And absence creates value. Think of it, you don't appreciate air until it's gone. You don't appreciate water until you're thirsty. In the same way, your ex won't appreciate your presence until they feel your absence. I've coached countless people through this exact situation, and the pattern is always the same. The ones who chase, who beg, who refuse to let go, they push their ex even further away. The ones who detach, who walk away with dignity, who channel their energy back into their own growth, they are the ones who get the late night calls, the unexpected texts, the sudden, "Hey, I've been thinking about you." Not because they manipulated the other person, but because they restored balance. They stopped feeding the dynamic of neediness and created a new dynamic of strength. And here's the deeper truth: detachment isn't just a strategy to get someone back. It's a strategy to get yourself back. When you detach, you reclaim your peace of mind. You stop living in reaction to someone else's decisions. You step into a place of power where your happiness is no longer dependent on another person's validation. And from that place, you don't just become more attractive to your ex, you become more attractive to life itself. So the question isn't, how do I get them to notice me again? The question is, am I willing to let go long enough to become someone worth noticing again? That's the shift. That's the power of walking away. And I'll leave you with this: chasing someone is weakness. Detachment is strength. If you want someone to chase you, stop running after them. Step into yourself. Let silence and distance do the work for you. If you really want to shift the dynamic with your ex, or honestly with anyone in your life, you need to understand this: people are attracted not just to who you are in private, but to the energy you radiate into the world. It's not enough to sit around waiting, hoping they'll suddenly remember you and come running back. You've got to give them a reason to feel like they're missing out on something extraordinary. And that happens when you upgrade your lifestyle and elevate your energy. Think about it. When someone looks at you, what story does your life tell? Are you the person stuck in the same routines, drowning in heartbreak, scrolling endlessly through old pictures? Or are you the person who is thriving, evolving, lighting up rooms and chasing passions with a fire that can't be ignored? Because I'll tell you this, nobody regrets losing someone who's stuck in the past, but everybody regrets losing someone who transformed their pain into power and built a life that others want to be part of. Energy is contagious. People feel it before you even speak. If your energy says, "I'm broken, I'm desperate, I'm waiting for you," then you're repelling the very thing you want. But if your energy says, "Hey, I'm alive, I'm growing, I'm fulfilled, I'm on a mission," that becomes magnetic. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to post endless quotes or try to prove it online. You live it and it shows. This is where psychology comes in again. Human beings are drawn to progress. We are wired to admire growth. When your ex sees you leveling up, physically, emotionally, socially, they experience something psychologists call cognitive dissonance. On one hand, they thought they knew you. They put you in a box. On the other hand, you're now showing them a version of yourself that doesn't fit that old box anymore. That tension sparks curiosity. Wait, how did they change? How are they smiling without me? How are they attracting so many people into their life? That curiosity often grows into desire. And let's be honest, success is attractive. It doesn't have to mean millions of dollars or luxury cars. Success is simply the visible evidence of growth. It could be your fitness improving, your social circle expanding, your confidence radiating. When you're out with friends, laughing, connecting, living fully, that energy becomes undeniable. And the very person who left you starts to wonder if they made a mistake, not because you begged them to, but because your life now shines so brightly, it casts a shadow on their decision to walk away. But I want you to hear me on this. It's not about revenge. This is bigger than your ex. This is about who you become in the process. When you upgrade your lifestyle, when you start saying yes to opportunities, pushing yourself into growth, you stop orbiting around someone else's approval. You create a gravitational pull of your own. And that makes you not only irresistible to an ex, but irresistible to new people, new opportunities, new possibilities that you never imagined before. Philosophically, this is about self-actualization. Abraham Maslow, one of the great thinkers in psychology, talked about how humans have a hierarchy of needs. At the top is self-actualization, the drive to become the fullest version of yourself. When you're climbing toward that peak, you radiate a kind of energy that inspires people. And whether it's your ex or someone new, people are drawn to that because it represents freedom, passion, and purpose. The very thing so many people feel they're missing is... So the question is, how do you upgrade your lifestyle and energy? Start simple. Take care of your body, move it, fuel it, respect it. Build your mind, read, learn, expand your perspective. Reignite your passions. Do the things you loved before you even met your ex. Connect with new people. Surround yourself with energy givers, not energy drainers. And above all, live boldly. Step outside your comfort zone because that's where growth happens, and growth is what makes you magnetic. And here's the irony when you start living this way. You stop caring whether your ex comes back or not because you're too busy enjoying the life you've built. And that's exactly when they start to notice. That's when the phone buzzes with that familiar name that, hey, how have you been? Not because you waited for it, because you didn't. You moved on, and your movement created attraction. Remember this, people don't chase what's comfortable, predictable, or stagnant. They chase what excites them, challenges them, and inspires them. When you upgrade your lifestyle and energy, you stop being someone's past and start being someone's missed opportunity. And missed opportunities are what people regret the most. So don't sit around hoping they'll come back. Upgrade your life so much that if they do, it's not because you needed them. It's because they realize they need you. There's one principle that sits above all the strategies, all the psychology, all the tactics I've been talking about. And it's this: if you don't respect yourself, no one else will. It doesn't matter how much you upgrade your lifestyle, how much you grow, how magnetic your energy becomes. If at the end of the day you allow people to treat you as less than you deserve, you will always end up chasing instead of being chased. Self-respect is the ultimate magnet. It's the standard that determines who enters your life, who stays, and who walks away. Here's the truth. Most people don't lose an ex because of one fight, one mistake, or one disagreement. They lose them because over time, they failed to hold boundaries. They settled for less than they deserved. They allowed disrespect, neglect, or inconsistency because they were afraid of losing love. But in that fear, they lost something far more valuable, their self-worth. And once self-worth goes, attraction disappears. Because nothing is more unattractive than someone who abandons themselves just to hold on to someone else. So let's be very clear. If you want your ex to come back, and not just come back, but chase you, you must build an unshakable foundation of self-respect. That means you do not tolerate breadcrumbs. You do not accept being someone's backup plan. You do not allow yourself to be pulled into endless cycles of mixed signals. You set a standard and you live by it whether they meet it or not. And here's the paradox: the moment you stop tolerating less, people suddenly want to give you more. Why? Because respect creates value. From a psychological standpoint, human beings assign value based on standards and scarcity. If you make yourself too available, if you accept anything, your value decreases in their eyes. But when you say, this is what I deserve, this is how I expect to be treated, And if you can't rise to that, I'd rather be alone. You instantly raise your value. You become scarce. You become someone who cannot be easily replaced. And that scarcity is exactly what triggers desire. But let's take this deeper, because it's not just about playing a game. It's about philosophy. The philosopher Immanuel Kant once said, act in such a way that you treat humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of another, always at the same time as an end, never merely as a means. What does that mean for you? It means you must treat yourself as an end, as someone worthy of love, dignity, and respect, not as a means to someone else's approval or affection. When you live that way, you send a message to the world. I am not desperate. I'm not waiting. I am whole. And if you want to be part of my life, you better come correct. That energy changes everything. I've seen people completely flip the script on their relationships simply by raising their standards. The same ex who once ignored texts suddenly starts sending long messages. The same person who once treated them as an option suddenly starts begging for attention. Not because they did anything manipulative, but because they shifted their self-respect. And that shift is powerful, but let's be honest. Living with self-respect isn't easy, especially when you're in pain. When you're hurting, it's tempting to settle for less just to feel close to someone again. It's tempting to reply to that late night message, even when you know it leads nowhere. But every time you lower your standards, you reinforce the belief that you are not enough on your own. And that belief kills your power. The real courage is in saying no to inconsistency, no to disrespect, no to half love. Because when you say no to the wrong things, you make space for the right things. And that space is what makes people chase. Because deep down, everyone is looking for someone who values themselves, someone who doesn't compromise their worth, someone who stands strong even in loneliness. That's rare, and what's rare is always pursued. So if you want your ex to come back, stop thinking about what to say, what to do, what trick will work. Start thinking about the standard you're setting. Ask yourself, what does my behavior teach them about my value? Am I showing them that I'll accept anything? Or am I showing them that I require respect, commitment, and love? Because here's the truth, people don't respect what you say. They respect what you tolerate. And let me tell you something even more important. When you truly embrace self-respect, you might not even want them back. You might realize that the version of you who once begged, pleaded, and settled is gone. You've grown into someone too powerful, too focused, too aligned with your worth to ever go back to that old story. And that realization, that freedom, is the real prize. So let this be your new standard. Never chase love at the cost of losing yourself, because when you respect yourself, the right people always chase you. And if your ex is smart enough to see your worth again, fine. But if they're not, you'll be too busy living a life full of